Webb. Welcome to Gene's Creek Farm Coffee with Gene. Today we're going to delve into slight dip into small solar. What I'm doing with it, what you could do with it, maybe some ideas, some suggestions. So without further ado, let's dive into it. Hi, we've got some solar stuff here. Everybody's probably familiar with the little bricks. This is an NRA gimme. I'm sure Dad was a good contributor and probably paid 3 times the cost of this one way or the other. This one is 10,000 milliamps. It's kind of a weenie. I think the one I bought 16,000. You can charge your flashlights if you've got rechargeables, your cell phone, maybe a laptop, or not a laptop, but a tablet, maybe a couple of times. But as somebody else pointed out, once this thing goes dead, it takes hours to recharge. This is not something you're going to strap on your pack or hang from your pack, and it's going to keep you charged up all day long if you keep running your phone down. But this 10,000, you probably can charge your phone a couple of times. 16,000, which I think is my other one, milliamps, will get you maybe 3 full charges on a smartphone. You can pick these up anywhere from $15 to maybe $25 on the interweb. They're all made of Chinese, and they all probably roll out of the same factory. Look at your milliamp ratings. You want the highest you can get, and I think maybe 16 on a brick this size is about the max, at least when I bought mine. Okay, there's step 1. That'll keep you in a little bit of juice. Then from there you can go up to something like this, and it's actually got 4 solar cells. This one has a 26,000 milliamp battery in it, so it's almost triple the size of the small one. Plus, it's got a lot more charging capability, so you can recharge this battery sooner. Now, this one you probably could hang off your backpack or, lay out, and it would probably charge that battery up pretty quick. I haven't run it dead to the point of seeing how long it would take to recharge it in full sun yet. So there's your next option. Gives you a little more capacity, a little faster recharge time. Again, flashlights. I've got AA and AAA batteries that I do have USB chargers for, so I can recharge those off of this. Alright, there's number 2. Then from there we could go to a small solar panel. This is a 25 watt panel, and I think this was about 25 bucks on Amazon. Comes with a charge controller and some cables, USB ports on the charge controller. I don't know what the charging rate, the solar rate, panel rate is on these. Maybe it's in the specs, but I've forgotten how many watts the solar panel is. This is a 25 watt solar panel. I bought it for a particular project that I think I'm not going to use it on. I've got a shipping container out here, and it's close enough to the house that I could easily run electricity to it for a couple of lights. But by the same token, I'm not in it that often, and don't really need it that much, the lights that much, so I'm just going to put a couple of RV LED lights in it, and a battery. I've got a bunch of lead acid batteries, smaller ones, and just use a small solar panel to keep it charged. But I have a 15 watt that came with a electric gate opener that I have no interest or desire in using, so I'll probably use that one and save this for something else. Now this is for portable This is the biggest one I have. It's a 60-watt solar. Comes in a case, carrying handle. It's a tri-panel. Folds out. Back up to give you a good view of the deal. Now this I bought particularly for a project that I'm going to show you. And it comes with some cables, pouch to carry the stuff in, and a little stand to hold it up with, slip it over. You can get, I've seen 100-watt ones that you can roll up. I don't really like that setup, and you can get 100 watts in a foldable setup, or multiples. You can daisy chain together for more output. You know, if you want something that's in a case and real packable and that kind of a thing. Now the reason I got that is I'm going to build me a small solar generator. I've got a 400-watt setup for the house. 4 100-watt panels, a 300-watt charge, a 30-watt charge controller. 2 of the biggest deep cycle marine batteries that China Mart had, and I believe it's a 2500-watt inverter. I thought about going larger, but my rationale was all this stuff, this is short term to intermediate term. By that I mean, this is all Chinesium, whether it's your batteries or the chargers or the solar or whatever, and they're gonna fail. So, you know, if the grid's down for 10 years, we're gonna be back to torches, you know, and lamps and that kind of stuff. We live for thousands of years without electricity. We can live thousands more. It'll just be a pain in the ass. So what I've got here is I've got a FET 50 ammo can. I've got some 18 amp hour batteries. I'm going to put 2 in here, so it'll give me 36 amp hours. I had this. This was a gimme. It's a small 350-watt inverter, continuous 600 peak. It's got your power hookups, fuses, cooling fan, and then two outlets. Dad bought this for something, I don't know. So that was free, and then some cables that he had came with the inverter, and then some else that I may or may not use with this. So I'm going to put in a couple, 1 or 2, I'm not sure if I'm going to put both of them in here. I picked up off of Amazon some USB charging ports. We got 4 of them. If I put both of these in, I could put them in individually. Where I can charge, again, the same type of stuff up. I picked up this I bought. It's a battery charge voltage indicator. Tell me the state of charge of the batteries. And I've got a 2 amp trickle charger that I was considering building into this, but I really thought maybe not, because I could use that for a number of things. I've got battery chargers. As long as I've got wall current, I can charge that. But the way I'm going to set this up is I'll be able to hook it to a car battery, or plug it into a cigarette lighter to charge it, or hook it to the solar panels. I just have to work out the how I want the plugs and stuff to connect. This one all go in the can, so I'm just going to mount this to the side. I don't need it to be waterproof. I wanted something smaller that I could pack up to the deer stand, or back to the back 40 somewhere, you know, where I could have a little bit of electricity to charge up a device, batteries, a camera, that kind of stuff. And it does put out enough, you know, I could run a small appliance or plug my laptop into it. One thing you got to remember on the inverter thing is if there's any way you can charge straight off a 12 volt, you're better off that way, because there is some current draw and voltage loss through these inverters. So if you've got something that'll charge USB, don't plug a USB charger into an inverter outlet unless you just, that's the only route you've got to go. If you've got some kind of USB ports to connect directly to the battery, you're better off, because it will use less energy. This is going to use energy, and then you're going to convert it back down to low voltage, and you're like spinning your wheels in the mud. It's just you're wasting energy off of something that's not continuous. Eventually the battery's going to run down. Depending on where you're at and what you're doing, the charge may not keep up with the draw on it, depending on what you're doing. So it gives you a little bit of portable power. You could run a circular saw off of this, a small one. You're not going to run it for a long time. I've got battery operated stuff that will that I can charge off a 12 volt via here or the truck or whatever, or my other solar system. So that's kind of an overview. I mean, you know, it's like I've got several of these flashlights that you can recharge with USB. This one has a separate battery and a charger, and I have some that it's all built in. The USB cable plugs directly into the flashlight. Plus, again, USB chargers for both double and AAA. So I don't know, that's kind of the short of the mini dip into small solar. Might give you some ideas or not, I don't know. And we'll go from there. That was my big look into small solar. I've also got some lanterns, camp lanterns. Like this one's not solar, but I've got some of these. I got like I think 8 of these that have a solar panel in the top, and you can charge them solar, USB, or plug them into the wall to charge them. Plus, even those will take batteries. This is just a cheapie from Harbor Freight, I think, or Tractor Supply. It just 3 AAAs, but they put out a lot of light. I've already had one of them that screwed off, though. It'll work on batteries, but it won't recharge. I haven't bothered to take it apart to see if it's something loose connection I could fix. So that's something to keep in mind with all this Chinesium. I don't care whether it's made in the U.S. or not. All the components come from China, but is that kind of stuff. It could last 20 years. It could last 2 weeks. So this is intermediate, temporary stuff. Now, I mean, if you get a storm, ice storm, a deal like they had down in Texas, where maybe the power's even out for 2 weeks, that'll probably get you by. If the world completely slides off the map, post-apocalyptic BS, the worst thing that you can imagine, we're back to the Stone Age. At some point, you're going to have to rely on old technology. Oil lamps, assuming you'll be able to find oil to put in them. If not, making your own candles. Wrapping weeds around a stick and making a torch out of. We live that way. We could live that way again. It's going to suck, yeah. But this electronic goober stuff, it's good for a while, and then it's going to screw off. And I don't care if you've got 100 of them stacked up. The 99 that you've got in the rat hole, half of those won't work when you take them out of the box because they're 10 years old and you really need them. Stuff doesn't break when you don't need it. It breaks only when you gotta have it. I've been fixing stuff my whole life, and that's my experience. The washer never breaks at the end of the last load. It breaks full on the first load. That's just the way life is. So get used to it. But a little bit will get a long way in the initial and short term, and to get you used to it, gradually, rather than turning the lights off and you've got candles. I've lived for months with no electricity, no water, not by choice, but because shit happens. It sucks, but it's livable. Other than the whiny, complaining kids was kind of a problem, but they survived. They ate. They had a roof over their head and a warm bed to sleep in, so they were just fine, and I ended up just fine too. So with that, I'll let you go. Y'all have a wonderful Sunday. I'm out. I'll see you next time.